of the crisis we had on staff matters during the period, and that's why we were not able to complete.
Yes, but Mr. Corey, I think the staff issue was resolved. So we are talking from 2019 until 2022.
No, that's what I'm saying. Now we have resolved those issues, but it took a protracted time to conclude on those things. That's why.
Okay. Can we hear from GCI or GCI and GCI, yes? Why did it take so long? We are in 2022 and we are talking about 2019.
The deal at the end of 2019, this GDTI was supposed to have a new auditor to take care of the auditing for the account of GDTI. So that period of change of auditors, it was not communicated to GDTI as to who is going to be the next auditing firm to take care of the account. So when the request came to submit for the account for 2019-2020, it was not yet identified as to who the auditor is going to be. So that to that effect, then we wrote to the National Assembly to inform them of the situation that was looming around GDTI. So and then from there, then the auditor was identified, and then we started working on the accounts from that period to date. So as we speak, he has already concluded the auditing and is supposed to submit the reports together with the management report.
Okay.
I think the director of the admin and finance will shed light on that.
Yes. Presently, we are just waiting for the final draft for that of 2019-20. So and 2020. So at the moment, that is the only thing that is holding us. Once we get those balances, then we will now be able to do our final aspect of the 2021.
Okay. Your accounts, are they automated or they are manual?
They are automated.
So how about your student records, etc.? Student records are they manual or are they automated?
For the students' records, I think we are working on that at the moment.
Yeah, we are we are working on that. There is this UNESCO COICA project, and they are launching the IMIS project in order to be able to take care of the students' records. So that one, the training has already been done, and then during today they will be doing another training, and we received request from the ministry to fund the training. And hopefully at the end of this month, the training will be completed, and we will adopt the system as part of the MIS in order to be able to handle the student records. So hopefully next year, student records would be into the automated system. They have already started the pilot, but they are still at the testing phase.
All right. How about the student payments?
The student payments are automated.
They are together.
Yeah, they go to the bank, they pay, and then the system will capture. They come and tender their receipts, and then it is put into the system.
Which system? Is the one that is not ready yet, or you have a special system?
No, this is just only records, student records. But when it comes to accounts, they have automated system.
No, I don't understand.
There is a software that handles it.
You have a software that tracks the student payments?
Yes.
Okay. Because the committee will be visiting all these institutions at some time during this year. And we may be requesting some of these things, because I can come and ask you to give me the report of the student payment that actually took place for the first quarter of 2020, for example. So, just to let you know. All right. I think that's it. So how about MDI?
Mr. Chair, we also got a new auditor whose contract was signed in February this year. There's a change in auditor. The accounts for both 2020 and 2021 are ready, but the paperwork processes and time. And as I said, the 2020 negotiated back.
Okay. Your account is automated or manual? Still manual. When is that going to stop?
I think all we've got is just QuickBooks for some of the accounts. So then we planning to automate it.
No, you have to give us a timeline. Because we've been discussing about this for the past 5 days. And it was very clear, that we don't want any manual accounts anymore. We don't want to have any manual student record keeping anymore. So you need to give us a timeline. Now we have a timeline on which you guys have to come and say we are ready. Because we'll be visiting. So you know I said earlier 2 weeks ago that it's no longer business as usual. We have given all institutions enough time to correct all the issues we've identified in your operations. So now it's time to do it. And we will not be negotiating with anybody anymore.
Can we ask for a 1-year period, Mr. Chair?
That's too far. I thought you were going to about 1 month ago.
We have some constraints when it comes to finances, Mr. Chair.
NDI and money constraints?
That's how people view us, but we are suffering, unfortunately. The UTG understand because they are also occupying our facilities, and it's been tough. And then a lot of investment have taken place of recent. For instance, the generator, my director's car got an accident. I don't have a car. All those things need to be. We had to get new tables and chairs because there was pressure from the students.
So,
maybe can we
I
say by the end of the year then?
Okay, so right now, if I come to your office and I want to know the outstanding student payment, will you be able to give it to me?
Yes, yes. That's a big challenge. Collection of tuition is a big challenge.
And that's exactly why you don't have money?
And we have been saying it because, yes, the strategies are not in place. What we did this particular semester was to ask students out of exams or to deny them exams, but we're trying to also have it automated, sort of a portal whereby students would have to register before they can be enrolled into the program. Once we have that, I think then that will probably solve our problem.
Madam, your institution is far left behind. When others are fully automated, you also need to follow the same steps. And the time you demand it is too wide that we can offer all the states. Honestly.
We are pleading for a 6-month period, maybe before the end of the year, please.
Chair.
Yes, sir.
Yes, actually, I want to quickly ask. If you look at the infrastructure development that NDI is using in terms of your cooperate with UTG, it's a huge investment. My fear is this: you may be running an institution. At the end of the day, money generation will be a problem in terms of fetching to see who had paid and who didn't. As what the chair has alluded, in terms of payment, I am a student. I am doing management. This guy doing development studies. I'm doing ICT. How do you be able to gauge and know that the ICT student have paid, this didn't pay, this had paid, this didn't pay? What formality are you using? Is it a spreadsheet method or a record, manual recording? I want to know. If that's the case, we'll be able to build that gap. If not, your institution, you may end up having 1,001 students. At the end of the day, you can't even collect your revenue. Because if you talk of a bookkeeping method, with further age, you have experts at GTTI, how to run MDI, where you could even develop a simple spreadsheet for you to be able to do your record keeping. Even if it's not automated, but the spreadsheet could do better off. You'll be able to earn and see, okay, these are the areas, these are the people who have paid, these are the balances. So I want to know what actually, is it the paper based that you do your recording in terms of payment, or if so, how are they obliged to pay at the bank and bring receipt, and how do you update those records? I want the clarity there.
Our student accounts are kept in a spreadsheet. We have different columns, of course, as they pay, it deducts from the outstanding. So if we probably need, let's say, a particular program, diplomacy, we have a sheet, which a spreadsheet for all the students in that particular class. And that's the sheet that we carry to the class to make a roll call. So there's a spreadsheet.
But the reason why I ask,
It's not manual.
okay, all right. This is why I ask. If you look at NDI, I think they are doing some programming courses, and you also have tailor-made, cheap programming auditing platform that you could use to avail instead of going into a more expensive. A tailor-made could be built, as he has said. We are in a technological world whereby you can link it with your account. Automatically, payment is done. You'll be able to, and I know you have a website. So that website alone is only the courses that you feature, or students also do apply online, or they don't. I think.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And thank you, Head of for coming. Well, we are aware that when it comes to the audit, some of you do with the National Audit Office and others have private audits. So we may want to know, those of you are under the National Audit and those of you with privates, and what are the challenges you face when it comes to facing this National Audit? Because we had a lot last year between you and the National Office. Thank you. Okay, thank you. You know, the private firms are also appointed by the National Audit Office. They are appointed on their behalf, yeah. So, are there any specific issues that you actually encounter in your audit? Because you know, the preparation of the accounts is your responsibility. So the accountant, the auditor will just come and inspect what you prepare. So do you have any specific issues dealing with auditors that we also need to also resolve? Like, there's no issue with auditors. UTG? Nothing specific. Okay, Gambia College? Okay. GTDI? Okay. So that means the auditors actually they are working, they're doing their work.
The only thing I would like to draw your attention to is the fact that when you have new auditors, because they are not acquainted with the system and all that, it takes them a longer period to audit. Once you have a new auditor, it takes them longer rather than the old ones that are already used to the system. So that also needs to be taken into account. It takes some time for them to complete the audit. So the audit is a longer period. That's what I want to emphasize.
Yes, that is true. But I also urge you also to ensure you organize meetings with the outgoing auditor and the incoming one, so that they can resolve all the issues before they go. That's going to make it much easier, so that they go to official handing over, just to ensure that they understand what they're doing, you know, what they're taking over. Very fair. Yes,
Mr. Chairman, I just want to build on that point that you have said. For the auditors, the outgoing auditors, it is the responsibility of the incoming auditor to liaise with the outgoing one. Because if we want to ask them to collaborate, it is part of their working requirement to ensure that you contact the former auditor for any issues that you want to raise, so that you will be able to resolve any matter. But it's a professional requirement for them to contact each other outside the institution that is being audited. I think it's a responsibility for the incoming auditor to contact the outgoing auditor for any matters that they would want to raise with them.
Yeah, that's true, but you know, you are the beneficiary.
Yes.
So you just wanted to create a platform where they can all come together, so that they can resolve all issues, and there's no excuse in I don't have this or I don't have that. Because once you organize it, you bring all of them on the table, you are the referee, and then let's make sure everything is handed over properly, and then you move on, just to avoid delay. So once you create that platform for them, I think that's going to solve a lot of issues. All right. Yes, Honorable.
Good morning to you all, and thank you so much for answering to our calls. Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think education is very important, and that is should be a concern to everyone, as it is a concern to us. As far as we are concerned, we are here for you people, because we want to make sure that education in the Gambia is forward. But Mr. Chairman, it seems there's a delay in the submission of the budgets. So I think you should work hard so ensure that we have these things at the right time, so that what is expected of us, we can also do it. So I think we are speaking the same language as far as the institution is concerned. This is a committee of education. As I said, we are very concerned about the affairs of the Gambian children. So it will definitely be important if the budget is prepared and then anytime needed, we have it.
Thank you. And just to also remind you, I think when we met with the Finance Committee, we made it very clear to the Ministry of Finance that going forward on the national budget, we want them to show exactly how much they're going to subvent to GTI or MDI or Gambia College. We want to be very specific. Let them show it on the budget so that Parliament know exactly what they're approving. Because when they bulk it, GTI will clearly know how much is in there for them under the Ministry of Higher Education. So now we want them to separate it and then put GTI, MDI, UPG, Gambia College, so that you all will know exactly how much the Parliament accounts approve for you. And that's going to actually help you in your in managing your accounts even better. Then you have your own budget and then you don't know how much you are getting from the government. So that makes it very, very difficult. And we understand that. So, but that task is handed over to the Minister of Finance to do that. Members, do you have any more questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning to you all. I am thanking all of you for attending this honorary invitation. My question will go to the MD, I think. So, like what I want to ask before today, whether you have a system to automate your recording system before today, whether you have any plan for it, because that is very, very important. We should not. Today we are conditioning you to automate it. To me, my question is whether before today you have any plan to automate the system, because it is very important to have a plan ready before today. Because NDI has been an institution, an old institution, one can call it. So we expect it to at least be automated. If not, there must be a plan laid for getting the system automated. Yes.
All right.
Mr. Chair, there are plans, and we have made some efforts in the past with Nifty solution to have a student accounting system. And we built our website as well. You want me to go over that? I was saying we have plans, we have even put in some investments in it, and this is why we have a website, and it's been designed or built up by Nifty, and they've also been contracted to student accounting system, which is functioning, not 100%. That was under the responsibility of the IT manager. Of recent this year, we have engaged a company in Ghana. They were an MDI, and they made a beautiful presentation on student portal. And the cost is very reasonable. The systems look very good, and hopefully we would pursue. It was, again, like I said, the finances that we're looking at, but it's quite reasonable, I suppose, because I even had to make some referencing with the UTG to find out how much their student portal cost. I spoke to someone from their accounts and I compared what the company charged and then what they have spent, what the UTG has spent, and this is why we thought it's very reasonable. It's just to bring up the money for the finances to be able to. Yes, we are here to make points.
Thank you very much. Any? Yes.
Yes, Chair. I do have the entire institutions saying 2020, 2021, 2019. I want this question to be sent to all of them. Specifically, when do you think all those things will work well? Because the issue now is it was a year last, and This was what they were facing and complaining the same. Lastly, I beg also when we met the Auditor General, you know, what they were saying is most of the cases, they do a lot of work for those institutions in terms of, you know, less capacity gap with those institutions in their own purview. As UTG have also alluded, that they had gaps before the demonstration or the staff welfare affairs that had occurred. You know, this comes back to who do we charge to be in the affairs of our auditors? Who do we charge to be in the affairs of our accounting department? If most cases you bring a skeleton to those auditors, there will also be a lot of job for you instead of you doing for yourself. So I want a specific, when do you think we will be able to see as what you are saying, we are at this stage, we are at this stage, when do you think it will be done? This is what we want to hear, because it's a year that is passing. We are talking of 2022. We have around others 2019, 2018, you know. So we want to see, when do you think we'll be able to have something at most ready for our view to all institutions that are here?
Yes, we start with UTG.
Mr. Chairman, from where I will say before that, because 2020, we are in 2022, but the due accounts are only up to 2021. The financial year ends at the end of 2021. So it is the financial year to make sure that it goes through the process of preparation and audit. So by end June of the previous year, that is the year in which we should. But going back to the issue of the backlog, as you said, we are expecting that by the end of this year for UTG, we will be able to get up to date. We are working to get our auditors by August to ensure that they do 2020 and 2021.
Yes, thank you. And you know, it's due by the end of March. It's only the central government that's due by the end of June, central government accounts. But all other institutions by end of March, of the first year, their accounts are due.
Mr. Chairman, if you look at the number of auditing firms, if you want to bring March as the deadline, it will really be very tight. To get all the auditors.
That's the Constitution, not us. That's the Constitution. That's not us.
But if you look at our UTG Act, it is 6 months after the end of the financial year.
In that particular instance, for that section, they will not apply because the Constitution is supreme.
Mr. Chair, yes, I can also add there, what we are complaining is, as what you have said, if you follow your act and forget about the way of the Constitution, you may sort to what you say. Because the Auditor General, what normally does is, he said, first come, first serve basis. If you delay your process of auditing, it will also be delayed at the other end, seeing who will also help you in your auditing. But when you do earlier, you'll also serve as an earlier investor in doing your things. So I think the ball round of what we are rotating here is, let's change the way we operate. Act on time, audit on time, send it on time, be with the accountant on time, then we'll be able to fix those problems. If not, it will still be the same thing that will be going around, you know, auditing is a problem. This is what they have complained, that if you send earlier than expected date, you realize that your thing will also be done as expected. But when you delay, then you are at a loss to them. They will also sit and say, okay, let's see who do we contract and do this thing. So I think we could change the way around to see a better one.
Yes.
And FDI, as I said, we have the completion of 2020 and 2021. So reasonably within 3 months, auditors should be able to finish both.
Yeah, by end of the year, we should be able to complete 2021 audited accounts.
So William, that's too far. That's it.
Yes, sir.
That's too far.
Yeah,
You see the problem we have is, the moment you delay, our work is also delayed. Because we cannot also do it, we cannot even go forward. But at least, if there's a delay in the auditor accounts from the auditors, the activity possibility. The activity doesn't take you 6-7 months to prepare. Because you have different units, and they are responsible to prepare all this for their particular unit or department. they prepare, and then at the end of the year, somebody just can consolidate. It makes it much easier.
Yes.
But if you wait until 3 months down the line in the new year and you want to put everything together, that would also cause a delay.
Yeah, sometimes we see it as auditors doing our work, but auditors do enhance a lot of things. Their work is always very detailed. They have to go through the accounts with a careful eye in order to be able to at least do their report. Sometimes they will tell you that when they come, they have to familiarize themselves with the system before they actually start the auditing, and that will take time. So sometimes it's not as if we are trying to let them do our work, but it is the way they operate. And as we were explaining, our auditor was identified at the latter part of the period when the accounts were supposed to be submitted at the national level. So this caused us a lot of delay in order to be able to have everything done at the right time. So that was why we wrote in order to explain ourselves as to what is looming within our institution, so that the National Assembly will understand, and then we will pick it up from there. As we speak, our 2019-2020 auditing is done. So before the end of the year, we would definitely submit a final report.
And may I say this? The central government accounts, right now they are doing the audit for 2020 for central government. And there are billions of transactions. They deal with billions of dollars. So if the central government actually are trying to be almost compliant, I don't see any other reason why any other institution also be like that. Because of their, in terms of volume, value, they are way ahead of everyone. Before, it was the reverse. The central government was actually behind, but now they are moving, ahead. They've already submitted in 2019, already completed their loss. Now they are doing the 2020, and we are almost certain before this year they will have submitted 2021. First in the history of the country. So I want you all to take cue from that. If the central government is doing that, so we expect every other institution to do the same. And in terms of our reports, once we are scheduled to be here, reports ready or not ready, we will go ahead and make our recommendations. And then going forward now, we're going to bring in sanctions to institutions that do not deliver. In terms of their management, in terms of the board, we're going to make recommendations, whatever it may be. That's what we're going to do. Because I think, to be honest with you, I'm on my second term, and we've been really, working very well with all of you, just to ensure that you come on board. And some of you actually, to be honest with you, you've come way ahead than what was expected. So which is really very good. But we have to have a line where you do with what the Constitution actually says, because it's supreme. So I urge you all to do your best, just to ensure that you make these things. Because otherwise we are left with no other opportunity but to make our own recommendations. And I can understand sometimes you may have hinges here and there, where I can understand that. But in most of them that's really very genuine. We have instances where the auditor actually had an issue. They prepare the accounts, but for some unknown reason, the laptop, something actually happened to them. That has nothing to do with you, that's the auditor. So, and we can understand situations like that. But just because somebody needs to understand your system, you prepare your accounts, and they come and inspect. So if your preparation actually is well done, it's going to take less time for them to inspect and then give an opinion. That's what they do. And the transaction they sample, they don't look at every single transaction we actually do. They just take samples, and then inspect and then, come up with an opinion. But I think we need to move away from these backlogs and just to be up to date. All right. Yes, anything you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say something. It is as if they are speaking in the same language. I think they have agreed on this. 2019-2020. Outstanding is MDI. MDI. Yes, for you at least they are far ahead. But talking about the Gambia College, the UTD and GTT, I are also speaking in the same language. So we definitely want to urge you to fast track everything. Let's work as expected. Because education is the backbone of this country. And in it, we can no longer compromise. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning to you all.
just have a piece of advice to convey to representatives here. We all know education is paramount in our life, and then as I've had all the representatives have said, my comments will go on to University of the Gambia. I've quoted him saying that there were some misrepresentations within the accounting section. That is, unprofessionalism was employed within the accounting sector. To an institution of this magnitude, the University of the Gambia, to me it is a total dismay that employees are employed unprofessionally to handle accounts. We all know finances are the heart, are the brains of any institution. Now, in doing so, what assurance have you now given us as National Assembly members sitting here to oversee your activities? What assurance can we be having from you that the accounting unit that you had now will be able to handle your financial reports as professionally as expected? And that of the Gambia College too, I've noted that there were some receipts, payments that were not presented by the auditor at the auditor's desk to be able to provide their financial reports. Now, these receipts are now been said to have been provided. How tangible are these receipts? And then how was your records being kept to make sure that these lapses occur? And what assurance can we have as National Assembly members to have the confidence to the Gambia College Accounting Department to know the accounts are secured? These are the two I want to make clarification.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Member. For UPG, as I said earlier on, the UPG also having professional accountants up to 2018 when we came on board. And that was the time we started improving the whole financial system of UPG. And it involved a lot of, both from the operational side and also the control side of it. And we did make some big improvement in terms of automation. And that has helped a lot in terms of consolidating our revenue base. So, but we realized that a lot of time is spent on student activities and payment systems. And with the number of staff that we have, we still have a shortfall in the number of staff that are required to effectively carry out the operation in a timely manner. But notwithstanding, as I said, the assurance is we are able to have a way out to ensure that by the October also, when we have our auditors to do the final audit for 2021.
Thank you very much. Actually, with all honesty, we've seen from 2017 some good improvement from the University of the Gambia. We've seen that based on what we show and where we are today. So we need you to keep up that spirit. Now, finally, if there's a need for you to get assistance from the Internal Audit Directorate or the Academy General, please do so. They are there to support you and they are there to help you. Already some of you are using them, especially the Internal Audit. And it's very important that you actually have some internal audit unit or direct, whatever you want to call it. And they're going to help you actually. Before these transactions, crystallize, they will actually have looked at those transactions just to ensure that it's in line with what you are trying to do. But without an internal audit, it's going to make it very difficult because everything goes through, and when the results come, then you have a lot of ways. And you can clearly see, in general, not only those of you that are here today, but the institutions with functioning internal audits, they tend to do better in terms of their overall finances. They tend to do better. So let's ensure that we have those units in place and to have very efficient people to manage those units, and that's going to happen very much. And in the absence of any other questions, we schedule.
Yes. Just want to just to add on to what you were saying, system change. That is very, very important because we all know that everybody is talking about system change, and it has to start from the central government. And according to Chair's statement, that central government is improving. So we expect you also to improve along the way. System change needs to start from agencies and institutions like you, then we move on to, we all move towards the central government. Then we all push the central government so that there could be a system change, because this is very important. Everybody is crying for system change. Government has changed, but system is still stagnant, and we should not accept. We all should not tolerate that. We should at least try to change work on our system. I think you have research departments. You have some will have, of course, some will have research department. We can all research and see how to improve our institutions, both financial area and other operational areas. So that's what I want to add here. And the only thing is just to introduce myself, because I'm late. My name is Honorable Fali Mkora from Tumana constituency. Thank you.
All right. So I think we are all on the same page. The expectations are clear, and then just to understand that we work together. We are working together.
Yes.
So there's nothing personal. Because more people I know you already from outside National Assembly. So there's nothing personal here. We're just trying to do a job. That's the best of all. And once we do what you're supposed to do, we do what we're supposed to do. And it's going to make it easy for all of us. So let's work together. And in case you have issues, let us know on time. Don't wait until tomorrow you are supposed to wait, then you start calling us, start writing a letter. It's not going to work. You know, you have a lot of time. Normally when we send letters out, you know, ordinarily it would take you within 72 hours to get letters. But if you wait until you are supposed to wait tomorrow or today, and then you want to call me, or it's going to be difficult, you know, because it's not. I'm the chair of the committee, but I'm not a dictator. I have to consult with my colleagues just to ensure that we all agree on something. So let's ensure if you have issues, let us know on time, so we can discuss on ourselves and then agree on the solutions. So we want the best interest of this country, and we want the best interest of the institutions. Because some of us were part of it in your own institutions, and our sons and our daughters will be part of it again. So you know, so let's do it. So in the absence of any other thing, I just want to thank all of you for coming. I think you've received schedules and stuff like that. So in the absence of any other thing, we want to thank everyone for coming. And then you already have your schedules when you are supposed to come. They may be followed by letters as well, right? Because you know, we gave you a master schedule when you came to FPACs. But sometimes the dates may change. But when you are supposed to come, they're going to write to the officer also to let you know. And if you are in doubt, please take the numbers of our committee clerks. What we had before now is different. So these are the two committee clerks. Take their numbers, and in case you need to consult with them, you can consult with them. Because I know for us members, sometimes it may be difficult to get to chase us, so it's difficult. But the committee clerk can also look at us wherever we are in this business. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, just one of the best issues we don't have this. Remember the date that you gave us. The date that we were receiving on our letter was on the 8th.
8th of July.
No, June. No, I mean we don't have any of the schedule because we were supposed to come on the 8th was the letter that was sent to us was on the 8th, and the whole meeting was on the 7th. So we don't have the schedule because we didn't attend that.
Yeah, no, you are quite right. Actually, we for some unknown reason, Gambia was actually skipped from the list. We realized that last week, and that's the reason why we were not able to do it. But
Yes. Yes. Just to clarify, do we have a separate schedule for the education subcommittee or committee? Because the schedule we have is for the FPAC. Yes.
Yes. Not fine. So with FPAC, you're supposed to submit your finances.
Yes.
So if you have any issue with the finances, you write that to the company.
Yes.
And they will sort it out. But for here, we want your activity force.
Yes.
Okay, and if there's a need for us also to look at your finances, we may, but not in detail. So here, the most important is your activity force And sometimes we may ask you to give us your strategic plans and stuff like that. And we're going to base our questions
And policies.
And policies, exactly.
I need clarity here. In the FPAC, which is the committee we had.
Yes.
We
already scheduled, yes.
We have a schedule there.
Yes.
Yeah. And that schedule requires us to present our activity reports and our finances. But for the education committee, is there any other schedule?
Yes. For this committee, we're going to officially write to you to give you the date that you're supposed to be here.
All right.
Yeah. And that date is going to specify exactly when you're going to bring our Yes,
So we have a date on the 29th and 30th. 29th and 30th is next week.
Yes.
So when we come, do we have to read the activity report and also the finance on the same day?
That's for the FPAC.
Yes.
FPAC, yes. The FPAC, yeah. For FPAC, the way we're going to do it now is like the board of the director will present. The auditor also is also going to present. So the final, normally you find that maybe the director general will give a brief statement, and then the final director would actually present. Also with the GPP also at that time, GPP also will present if they are required. Yeah, and then that's it. And then we're going to look at specifically the accounts, and then we and the rest will be handled by this committee. Okay, are we all on the same page? Yes. Okay. So we want to thank you once again, and you all have a wonderful weekend. So members, can I have someone move that we adjourn until
Let the late command do that.
Huh?
I said let the late command do that.
I didn't hear that.
I said let the late command do that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll see next week.